Okay, ladies and gentlemen, want to make sure that we understand what is going on tonight's meeting. So, in 098, basically, we are at midterm now. If I'm not mistaken, we have spring break next week. So, let's make sure that even though we don't have mandatory class next week, that you are taking advantage of spring break to make sure everything is done and taken care of. So, yeah, no classes, spring break on the 15th. So, all next week is spring break. With that in mind, that kind of gives you a spare week to get some stuff accomplished. You should already be done with everything from the systems slideshow. That should already be done. That should have all the homework, all the Delta Math, all the Ed puzzle, all the exam. It should all be done for systems. You should be working on, if we go to modules, taking a look at our dates, by the end of this week, exponents and roots. Exponents and roots should be done by the end of this week. Now, if you don't get them done by the end of next week, you know, that's okay too. But make sure that you are getting this accomplished. So exponents and roots, make sure this is accomplished by the end of this week or sometime in next week. But do also remember, guys, and this is one of those things that I'm noticing as I go through the grades. Some of you are falling off on the weekly discussion. You'll notice, where is the weekly discussion? Right here under modules, it says week 7, and it tells you what dates you should be filling that in. Week 8, it tells you which dates you should be filling that in. Now, when we start talking about polynomials and quadratics, this is weeks 9, 10, and 11 because we got that extra week of spring break in here. So week 9 discussion, week 10 discussion, week 11 discussion. Make sure you're putting your discussion threads in here, okay? The other thing about this is we are starting the real nuts and bolts of this class. Polynomials and quadratic equations, folks. This is the stuff where, you know, you really think of algebra, you think of this stuff because you're adding and subtracting polynomials. Is it a trinomial? Is it a binomial? Is it quadratic? Is it quartic? What's the leading coefficient? What is standard form? Then we're going to start factoring, taking out common, factoring by distribution. Then we start doing trinomials, so something like x squared plus x squared plus 2x plus 3, and you'll break it up in parentheses, x, 1, 2, makes the 3. And so you start putting together all this factoring. This stuff is huge. This is the heart of the class. The reason I've also given you 3 weeks on this is because this is tough. I'm warning you. It is tough. So make sure you go to the slides. Do not do all of the Delta Maths at once and then go do all the Ed puzzles. Work through the slides. It's meant for it to be for you on purpose that way. And make sure you're putting those discussions in. Also, folks, we are now getting close to the end. I think I've been pretty kind and I think I've been pretty broad with when I'm going to accept late work. But unfortunately, guys, if you're falling behind, you need to use this time to get caught up because before very long, you're not going to have the opportunity to get caught up. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I can't show you grades, but I can see clearly some of you are really high flying. Some of you guys are really trucking along. Great job. I gave some extra time, I think, last week or two for you to get things caught up. And some of you guys did a great job of using that time to get caught up. And some of you are still using some of that time to get caught up. That's great. But some folks are falling a little bit behind. If you need help, let me know. Send me an email. If we need to get on Zoom, let's do that. But in all of these cases, we're really starting to the heart of the class. It's going to be over before we know it. So make sure that you are getting everything accomplished that you need to get accomplished because this class is going to be starting to really come to an end. All right, guys, make sure you have everything there as long as you fill out the Ed puzzle. You do not need to log in live, so watch this video, fill out the Ed puzzle, and I will see you in 2 weeks because we have spring break next week.